All right, so everybody's got their food and their snacks and their drinks, and everybody's back on, and we can all talk and hear each other.
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
You're a little quiet, Jim. Wow, Jim, you changed your voice really. Like, I didn't know you transformed into like a werewolf. That was interesting. Your lycanthropy showing.
No, that's on Innistrad.
All right, so last we left off with the epic tale of the Adamant Heroes, the 5 Nova Nobilitas nobles, King Keolok Nalakage, King Kairon Ebonhearth, Queen Minerva Alabaster, King Alyn Geist, and Queen Morgana Lordana, known as Raven, had, along with the High Lord of Andril, Unther Drokoth, and his brother, the Archmage Yrdan of the Primus Nobilitas, defeated the last remaining form of the Queen of Chaos, Tiamat, the dragon god Charaz. This was made possible through the Archmage's casting of one of the mightiest spells ever wielded by mortals to siphon the magical powers within the ancient weapons of power. The mystical incantation was completed. The spell also released their queen Alina, the Titaness daughter of the goddess Ishtarana, from her prison, from within the very essence of the dragon god, keeping the creature bound to the outer realms. In the hard-fought battle afterwards, a fight that nearly killed them all, the assembled heroes were able to slay the last great embodiment of chaos. But as the embodiment of the goddess, Tiamatsu's rage, fell upon the temple floor, its form suddenly beginning to melt away, revealing only broken bones and melting flesh of the dead former deity. Then, as if awaiting this outcome, the air suddenly crackled and the world split open before them as an even greater threat manifested. The overlord of hell, god of depravity, ruler of the damned, the archdevil Asdrodeus, arrived. The mere presence of the princely firstborn of the goddess Anshar and her brother Anilil, king of the gods, through her unholy act to manipulate the waters of life from their father Apsu, when the cosmos was first formed, ripped the very souls of our heroes nearly completely from their bodies. It was only through the quick actions and combined powers of their spiritual exemplar protectors that they were not immediately and utterly destroyed at that moment for merely being so close to such a powerful immortal's physical presence. But Asdrodeus had not come for them this day. It was Lady Alina, the one who had sacrificed her freedom long ago to be the conduit to save the world by containing the power of the Queen of Chaos within the form the heroes had destroyed. Not strong enough to do so on her own, she had struck a deal with Asdrodeus. In return, he held a contract that bound her to serve him as queen of his Erinys, as if she were ever to be released from her self-imposed prison. As the disembodied souls of the heroes still desperately tried to return to their mortal bodies, the contract was enacted and both Lady Alina and Asdrodeus were gone. But as the exemplars forced their souls back into their mortal bodies, a great portal of darkness opened, and out of it stepped Orcus, the newly self-entitled Prince of Demons and the Undead, to claim the remains of the former avatar of the dragon god. As the demon lord returned to the realm of shadow, the former great dragon that was Chaos made manifest was reformed by the will of Orcus into a grotesque unliving remnant of what it once was, following its new master into the darkness. Within moments, the temple doors flew open, and Lord Stalamorn, along with a battalion of Platinum Dragon Knights, arrived at the temple to find his brothers and the heroes recovering from their encounters with immortal powers of the multiverse. As you feel the blood flowing through your veins, still filled with the fires of combat readiness, as your eyes slowly begin adjusting to the stunning chaos of light reflecting off the others swarming the temple, you feel your consciousness still struggling to return you to your senses, as your very essence, momentarily disjointed by the presence of the powerful Asdrodeus, now slowly begins restoring you to control the heaviness of a physical body. You are truly amazed that still remains after such a confrontation. It doesn't hurt as you enter the much less disorienting nature of your mortal form, but you cannot help but feel like you've left some larger part of you behind. Straining against your own mass, you manage to gather yourself back to your feet. You rise up from the cold marble floor and begin to again see after adapting to the limitations of mere simple perceptions. The dust still falls like glittering gossamer settling over a scene of gore from the aftermath of the climactic battle. The sounds of an army of footfalls echoing through the temple. The brazier-lit cathedral is so large the flames fail in their attempts to illuminate the spaces towering far overhead. As shadows flicker across the walls of the central gallery, where mere minutes ago you stood as the vanguard against the forces of chaos in the world, it dawns upon your growing focus. However, it dawns upon your growing focus of jumbled thoughts that you have won. You are victorious. However, instead of feelings of jubilation, your thoughts and emotions seem to match well with the overwhelming lifeless, ashen gray colors of the place. The moment has instead engendered the presence of a hard, hollow swell within your chest. As you look upon each of the side vaults still cruelly shimmering dimly in glimmering blue, green, red, white, and black, hues of the evil dragons and their world-consuming queen, you see other figures in the flickering light, your companions, loved ones, fellow heroes and friends. You realize in that moment just how long and hard you have fought to get here, and all the sacrifices required to be made to reach this zenith. Now that you've regained your senses, what are you doing?
Well, so I guess the party's over.
Oh. Well, that was different.
Could have been worse.
It always could be worse.
I don't know about always.
It's got to get pretty fucking bad for it to not be able to get worse.
Well, we could all be dead.
I think we were.
Thus, it could be worse.
I'm too stubborn to die.
I have somebody who has been dead before. That is not what being dead feels like.
I have teetered on the edge from time to time. It's a interesting experience.
Are there still people strung up, by the way, PJ?
Yes. I do believe that there are a few people who are still strung up.
Well,
2, to be exact. Although there are others in the darkness that you're not quite aware of.
Time to move over to them and pull them down.
Yep. Did someone just take a screenshot? Did it not sound like that? Either that or that was the best sound effect chip.
Somebody took a screenshot? Cool.
You didn't hear that?
Oh, you took a screenshot. Okay, gotcha.
No one. It just sounded like something.
It did. I thought I heard it too. Of course, I'm also eating chips, so.
That was... I go and assist Kairon with the removing of the bodies from the strung upness.
Okay.
I'm just taking a glance around. There's no fucking guys waiting in the goddamn dark.
Well, we've got a legion of knights at our back, so I'm sure we'll be fine.
Those schmucks?
Yes, those schmucks.
And you have another Drokoth.
Yeah, well,
that just makes it fucking worse.
they're the ones who got us into this mess.
They're the ones apparently who started this whole mess.
Yeah?
So.
Unther did nothing wrong! Unther did nothing wrong!
Spicy.
So yeah, I guess we're gonna let some people down.
Okay, so as you go over, you I'm assuming Kairon goes over to the one that he knows. Raven,
Yeah.
are you going over to Yerbo, who's also tied up?
No, someone can get him.
So soon there.
Well, I'll be going to grab mine.
Okie dokie.
Minerva's got to get her husband.
So yes, you do manage to get everybody, except for Raven's just being coy.
It's not coy. There's method madness, but okay.
As Kairon, as you untie
Those Jasmine.
Princess Jasmine from where she was, she gives you a hug and says thanks and gives you a kiss on the cheek. But then you notice that her attention suddenly looks towards Unther, and she says, "Hello, Father. It's not entirely terrible to see you." The elder statesman and legendary warrior king cannot hide the look of pleasure as he wraps the relatively tiny-framed woman in a gentle, large, bear-like embrace. "Are you all right?
Oh.
Are you hurt, my little butterfly?" She looks around, slightly embarrassed to have what must be her father's private pet name for her since she was a child being revealed to all. "A little singed, but I'll be fine." Returning the embrace for a few moments before stepping back, she then tries to hide her tear, wiping away the stray tear of joy from her eyes with a wrist, only to have the ashes that are on her cheeks smear into a darker, more clearly visible smudge with her inept attempt to brush it away. But in the process, regaining her composure with a formal curtsy and "Your Majesty," and then she looks towards Kairon. Smiling, the old warrior takes the hint and locks his penetrating eyes on Kairon. "Lord Kairon, may I have a word with you?"
Of course. As many as you'd like, I suppose.
"Long have the lands you are soon to rule been under the care of my ancestors. The transition of power will not be altogether accepted by those currently in power, many of whom owe much of their history and tradition as colonists from Nidais during their occupation of those lands. I know you're quite capable of handling any direct challenge, but as monarch, you will be required to do more than this. An alliance is prudent. I dare to even say it would be a necessity to ensure your political power and convenient to have a long-term peace between our neighboring nations. I propose you take my daughter as your queen, strengthening us both for the trials to come. What say you?"
Wow. That makes perfectly logical sense.
As Unther completes his request and Kairon begins considering it, meekly, almost apologetically, she speaks out. "But Father, Kai should be allowed to marry for love. Although I know him, he knows little of me. You can't expect him to seek a love forged in an alternate timeline that no longer exists. It is wrong." Unther responds sternly, though still smiling charmingly. "Trust me, little one. A political marriage can develop a love in its own time. Your mother taught me that. Besides, even a blind man can see you both are drawn to one another, regardless of the multiverse attempting to keep you apart, and undo what was done. The betrothal, and the alliance it represents, is a valid one, King Kairon. But it is your choice."
While I don't disagree with the prospect of marriage for such a cause, I do not believe that I am mentally or emotionally capable of taking my rightful throne, at least not immediately.
"You wish to abdicate?"
Not entirely, but I need... Much has happened, and I need time to process.
Fine, the betrothal is there, and as long as
And
the
I-
betrothal is on the table, you may choose to accept it. Besides, I would assume you would have taken a few months before getting married anyway to learn the lay of your land and allow the two of you to get to know each other better. Perhaps that is a better way of going about things. In perhaps 3 months' time, after this historic victory, we could meet in your court, possibly to do nuptials, or what you have decided at that point. That should give you two enough time to catch up and give your new courtiers, King Kairon, something to gossip about. His massive right arm wraps about Kairon's shoulders as he speaks, trying to be a little bit more private, but in a voice loud enough to turn even the smudge on his daughter's cheek pink. Of course, if you mistreat her in any way or allow anything untoward to happen to her while my lovely butterfly is in your care, I will smite you down and bottle your soul to mount for my amusement in my throne room. Then, with a friendly shake, growls out a laugh, exclaiming much more loudly, "It will be a glorious wedding."
I would say, for the record, I believe that my soul is heavily contested.
Minerva, as you see this going on, and you enjoy the warmth of the embrace of your husband you haven't seen in quite some time.
It is Alia, right?
Alia is her nickname. Really, her name is Alicia, but everybody calls her Alia.
Well, that is Alia, right? Like,
No. It is the
different daughter.
Alia is her. Alicia is Unther's daughter, but this is the
different daughter.
Well, it's what's her? I just did this girl.
Yeah. Okay.
Minerva is quite clueless as to what's going on and talking about daughters that Unther shouldn't have that daughter. What's that?
Okay, well. From here I thought Minerva and Alia were besties. Apparently not.
Well, I did tell you that there was a family secret, she says.
Okay.
Alia is, because she is still there. She's all, I'm assuming that is what Minerva would have said. And so,
yeah, probably.
So Alia is there. She's like, well, we do have some family secrets. You see, previous to my father returning himself and us from that other world where he was, you see, my mother, she passed on long ago, and there were several decades in there where my father was alone, and there was a Genasi who came and comforted him in his times of need, and soon that Genasi became his
concubine?
Thank you. I was looking for the word. Became his concubine. And from their joining, and she takes her arms and does like a presentation look.
I'm no expert on genocide, but I don't think any of them have butterfly wings.
Yes, it is interesting, but when you have a Aasimar combined with not a full genocide, she was a half genocide.
Well,
strange
anything
things
is
do
possible
occur.
then.
Yes, I do believe it does come from the Eldarin ancestry that the Genasi must have had, but that I cannot confirm. After all, I barely even know my stepsister. I have only heard tales of her. I haven't seen her since we were children. I don't even know how she arrived here from that old world.
Beats me. Above my pay grade.
Well, technically you do know, because you did go to the archive that had all that stuff, and she was there scribing with a dragon. 'Tis true. Alyn.
Present.
Okay. So you went to release Megara there, did you?
No, I thought her name was something else.
Yeah, her name is something else, but I used the picture of Megara as a representation.
Yeah.
So I was being I wasn't being specific about the character name, but yeah, you did go and release your love, and as she comes down, she looks extremely weak, and she seems to hold on to you with all of her might, but it seems very... You're holding her up more than she's holding herself on you.
Well, unfortunately, my strength sucks, so I would have used telekinesis to both get her down and help hold her up. So.
Okay, so you see her. You use telekinesis to take off the ropes that are tying her up there, and you levitate her down towards you, and then she comes towards you and gives you a nice warm hug. Both arms over the shoulder kind of deal. She whispers in your ear, "Thank you."
My pleasure. We need to get you somewhere safe so you can rest.
She looks around through squinted eyes and says, "So is this what you do when you're gone?"
Well, this time, yeah. Last time it was Tiamat. A different one. Yeah, never mind.
Ah. Well, then. I think I'm ready to go home. Keolok, as you go over to which one of your 6 was here?
Of my 6 fuck buddies, to say the least.
Your wives, my friend. Which one of your wives was...
I don't think we ever went into that. So let's see. Wow, okay, there we go. 4th one.
Oh wow, I love how you choose the one of the 6 that you love the most through random die roll.
Listen, he is chaotic neutral.
Yeah, that is true. So it totally makes sense.
Look,
That's totally legit.
I'm a Goliath. I'm pretty sure they're a little bit closer to concubines than wives.
True. I think you only have one wife. And
Conquest, even.
Yeah, exactly. Skill challenges.
Is it really a challenge when he's got 29 strength?
Well, and his comeliness makes him something not bad to look at either. So, which one is number 4?
Fuck, let me grab that list that I sent you a bit ago.
Oh, okay, well, I can...
So that would be Lavia Viomiala.
Low runner. Okay. Yeah. So as you step her off, not bring her down from, because she is 7'9".
Yeah, she's taller than Keolok.
Holy fuck. And she's called Low Runner? Fucking, that's an ironic name.
I know, right?
She's all, well, by all our ancestors. Sorry, I'm saying it with too gruff a voice. Well, by all of our ancestors, I'm going to have a hard time one-upping you now.
Keolok kind of gives her a smirk. Pretty sure you always would have had a hard time one-upping me.
She grabs you in a very strong embrace, lifting you up off the ground to
Ooh,
kiss
she's
her.
Strong. All right, Keolok doesn't resist.
Okay, so since that's been handled, I'll leave you guys snogging. And Raven, oh, you're not with your friend. So one of the assembled new arrivals, who isn't in armor and only has a foil at his waist and is in some finery. He's half elven, and he comes up to you and says, hello there. Congratulations on your crowning achievement and your rather prodigious careers, Your Majesty. I believe you'll find it most useful to pour yourself a soothing tea, you know, to aid you in recovering from this task when you return home. Soon there will be tales told that represent some handsome bard's humble opinion over what happened here today. Your world is about to be shaken to its core by such newfound celebrity. Before you object, trust that I understand the position you are in better than you could know. You have walked many paths throughout your long career. In one life, a glorious hero. Another, to a righteous cause. In another, a daring adventurer who cut down those who defied your power. Whether you invoked magic granted to you by divine powers or swung steel forged in blazing dragon fire, you've always met your challenges with the greatest tools, skills, and magic you could find. I imagine there isn't much in a world full of dungeons, dragons, coastal wizards, and magic that could surprise you. But he looks at you, seeing the utter disgust most likely coming from your face. What if I were to tell you that there was more? Oh, so much more. Beyond anything you have ever experienced. I'm not talking paltry forces like a new spell for killing goblins or an undiscovered type of dragon with an extraordinary hunger for cattle. Our multiverse contains powers the likes of which you've never even conceived. Or by your looks, perhaps you have. I myself have traveled a long, hard road and watched in terror as a warrior stood sword in hand against an entire legion of demons. I questioned the nature of existence as a wizard reshaped reality with magic of ludicrous complexity. I knelt in awe as a humble farmer ascended to godhood after a lifetime of service. The stories I could tell of this power are as numerous as they are extraordinary. I know that this potential exists within you, Your Majesty. A new chapter in your legend is just waiting to be written. You're probably wondering why I'm telling you this. Well, what I'm describing can save worlds. It can lead to annihilation or condemn to eternal damnation. While not extensive, there is much I know about being immortal. But watching you, and he looks over at your companions, and those like you, I can share what I have seen by being there, to act as a guide, or to truly begin to understand the potential of what it is like to wield such awesome forces. Perhaps it will make for a wonderful new story for me to tell.
So, is he talking to me or everybody?
He's talking to you. Everybody seems to be preoccupied.
Okay, and why do you come to me with this information? Understand you.
Well, why wouldn't I, Your Majesty? You are one of the heroes who defeated the forces of chaos, and from what I understand, you're recently given the power of immortality. So I do believe that I'm in the right place and talking to the right person.
Probably, but has anyone ever told you were a little...
The word you're looking for is creepy.
Thank you, Your Majesty, Alyn Geist, he says.
Peculiar is the diplomatic term.
Everybody is watching what your reaction is at this point, I'm assuming.
What do you want me to say?
What do I want you to say? Whatever comes to your mind. I am but a simple bard.
You're a bard who has seen legend heroes go on massive adventures and still survived?
I'm a lucky simple bard.
Well, you would have to.
PJ, he's one of the, what do you call it, isn't he? He's one of the Lords of Andril, isn't he?
Give me an intelligence check.
I mean... Okay. You want me to roll history?
Sure. Oh, no.
23.
You definitely
23.
know he is not a member
Okay.
of the High Lords of Andril. He is not even a member of the Lords of Andril. However, with that history roll, give me an Arcana check.
Oh, wah, wah.
What'd you get?
I rolled the natural 1 for a 9. Man, this proficiency in all skills coming in clutch.
Yeah, you're really showing them there.
I will give you advantage on it based off of how well you rolled the history check.
23 again. Listen, I'll make all my skill checks at +8. Okay, thanks, bye.
Okay, so you start off because you had to make you didn't do it on your first one, but you definitely did it on your second one. You sit there and you go, I'm not a Lord of Andril, but he's so familiar. There's within the city of Andril, especially along the concourse and the very bricks of the Colosseum itself, where most of the trials occur, there are stories that are depicted in the stones. And the one that drafted these stories was a half-elf. And he kind of became a chronicler for the stories of the High Lords and the nation of Andril that grew up around it. You're looking for a name, and you remember it starts with like an L and ends with like an is, but he has two names. It's like got an I in it, so then you're like, oh, and then it just comes to you. Liari Ferris.
Liari Ferris.
Here, I'll pop that into...
Well, if you care at all about being immortalized, he's the one you'd want to talk to.
He bows, a very deep bow. Actually, he's even going to do a performance check on that one.
Really ham it up.
He's going to see how well he hams it up. On a natural 6. Okay, it's just an ordinary one because with his bonuses he's over 10, but it's not spectacular, but it is well rehearsed.
He's got performance anxiety.
Yeah.
Standing in front of royalty.
Standing in front of so many royal people. And he goes, yes, Liari, at your service, madam. I mean, your majesty.
So, well, I appreciate. Listen, this was a lot, and a lot's going on right now, and I need to process. So, thank you for whatever you're offering. Still be there when I need it. I don't know. Okay? So, just go kiss some other ass. Thank you.
I'm off to kiss other asses. No problem. We'll talk to you later, Queen Bee. We'll get to you. Don't forget about us little people.
Yes. Oh, Jesus. And yes, I say Jesus Christ because I know who Jesus Christ is.
Well, we all do at this point because we have not meta knowledge, but meta knowledge.
Multiple lives.
Well, we have past multiple life knowledge, right? So is what's his name still tied up?
No, he is being let down by some of the knights.
Oh, I was gonna say Minerva was gonna make a point of going over, untying him just to be that bitch.
Minerva would know that one of the knights is Stalamoran.
Yeah, well, fuck that guy. He's kind of a dick.
I have no idea who that is.
Oh, don't worry about it. He's kind of a dick. Stalamoran. Yeah, no, he's So if, like, Unther, the best example of Stalamoran is if Unther is the guy who's going to try to talk you out of doing something bad, Stalamoran's the guy who's going to kill you for even thinking about something.
So we kill Stalamoran.
Well, maybe. Feel free.
Deegan.
Mm-hmm.
You're still off the ground, and you're almost gasping for breath, and you've definitely lost the tongue battle. And at that point, you both are distracted and have to look down. Way down. As the half-elf approaches you and says, King Keolok Nalakage, the Gigan mountain man who left his good life among his tribe to fulfill his dying father's request to help an old friend. Over 2 full seasons ago, you left the familiar traditional lands of your people to help rescue some dwarf friends until eventually you alone survived to take up a quest against the forces of chaos. Oh, that poor rogue. That statue.
Yeah.
In honor of that monk. The thing known as Doorstop. That sorcerer and druid who were part of your party all came and went. But you were joined on your grand quest against chaos by new friends and comrades made along the way. He puts out his hands like he's presenting a prize and says, Kairon, and then does it again. Raven, Alyn, and Minerva.
Oh, by the way, bit of a retcon. Keolok is 7'5", not 7'3".
Ah, so you were only 4 inches shorter than she is.
Yeah.
Less emasculating.
Yeah.
In the end, after countless encounters involving artifacts, archmages, cultists, clerics, and creatures too numerous to list, completely from demons to dragons and devils to angels and elves and elementals, along with goblins and giants and gods, as well as High Lords of Andril, numerous factions, and the ancient noble houses. Oh, yes, yes. King Keolok. Perhaps now, after all your efforts to save the world from the apocalypse and bring peace to the lands of your home, at long last you can now return with your lovely bride, now to your tribe, your family, your other wives, and your children. No longer as merely the son of the chief, but as chief of chiefs, and king over all the traditional lands your people once had that have now been reclaimed through your odyssey. Do you have anything that you would like to say about your adventures? Did I miss anything, Your Majesty?
There was an interesting point in our adventures. I don't fully know if it actually happened. We were sucked into a portal at one point, and I vaguely remember being a lot smaller and thinner, but covered in armor, but it wasn't armor, it was... I guess the closest thing I could equate it to would be doorstop, but at the same time, way more badass than doorstop.
Oh.
It was definitely an interesting
Doorstop was
segment.
awesome.
Tell me more.
Doorstop is fucking dead. Oh. Well, it was... I barely know how to describe it. We were in a sort of rocky town. Everything was either metal or stone. There was very little woodwork anywhere. The towns themselves were very, very large in comparison to even Andril. And we went past our own planet to fight among the stars, and defeated a large planet, I guess? It's interesting to think that we had to destroy a planet to save our own, but it's what happened, at least that I can recall.
A planet, you say? Please, tell me more.
What more is there to tell? It was probably just a fever dream, but all the same, the planet would react to whatever you did to it. It's like it was its own living, breathing thing, much more than just a giant rock with living ecosystems on it. Oh, the very planet itself would react to anything you did to it.
That sounds horrifying.
That planet owes me an axe.
Wait, are you telling me it wasn't a fever dream?
Unless we had the same fever dream.
Recall that.
Are we talking about ego here?
Yes.
That's what the planet was called.
Yes, we are talking about ego.
Gotcha.
I think I vaguely summarized most of what happened.
I mean, ultimately, I feel like there is a better time and a place for this, and Minerva gestures to the smoldering ruins of the temple.
Yeah, this is probably not the best place to be exchanging adventuring stories.
Oh, quite on the contrary. I found that after the adrenaline of battle, it is usually the best time for the best stories to come out, because you generally don't filter much out of it. Can you tell me? It looks like the Platinum Knights have everything under control here. Perhaps you could all tell me a little bit about how you got together and how you came to be here today.
Well, for the most part,
I thought we weren't here to share stories. I thought we were here waiting for to show up so it's ass.
What better way to waste time than to tell stories?
Wait, what did you say we were waiting for?
I thought we were sitting here waiting for the next big whatever thing to show up, so we have to kick its ass too.
We're out of big things to kick. I think we're out. I think we ran out.
God, I hope so.
That last big thing almost kicked our asses.
I mean, Orcus bitched off with the corpse of Tiamat, whatever the fuck she was calling herself.
Whatever the fuck it's called at that.
Yeah, he ran away to the
one-headed bitch fest.
Yeah, he ran away with the corpse. So unless you want to go hunting...
No.
Oh, well. Then I guess there's not very much else to do.
The half elf's ears actually physically perk up, and he says, "Well then."
Yeah, I wouldn't suggest spreading information about that, by the way.
My lips are sealed until I'm told they are not.
Good, and I'll hold you to that.
Wasn't Orcus gone to the
I don't think we know where he
went. This place?
I don't think we know where he went. I mean, us as players know where he went because PJ told us, but I don't think, unless he said, "Oh, I'm going to the Shadowfell." Well, that could be. Yeah, he could have gone to the negative energy plane. He could have went back to the abyss.
Fuck, he could be like 100 meters away from us.
He could be in the room.
Exactly.
He could be listening to every word we say about him, the big smelly pig man.
It could be any one of us.
It could be any one of us. It could be you.
It could be me. It could be you. It could be you. It could even be
me. Well, clearly he's standing right there, and Minerva gestures at Kairon.
I think that pile of red skin over there. I think he checks out.
Yeah, no problem. In any case, I feel like if we're going to reminisce, there are better places, more comfortable places to do it than here.
Oh, do you have any suggestions?
Well,
anywhere but here.
Anywhere but the Feywild. Probably somewhere on the Prime.
We're all pretty much tired.
Then since where we are has a portal so close to King Kairon's realm, perhaps we should just meet in his new court, and we can take it up there.
I suppose so, if that's where the nearest portal leads us.
As you say that, Eardan rolls his eyes and shakes his head unapprovingly, as he says to everyone as he approaches King Alyn, "Well, if there are no further betrothals to be done, or stories to be told, I think I shall take my brothers and the rest of the Andrillians home.
I have a question for you.
Yes, what can I do for you?
What exactly did that spell you cast do?
It merely separated things.
That's
separated, vague and ominous.
Separated things, as in...
Well, I do not expect you to comprehend exactly the nuance of what my spell's incantation actually did do.
However,
I've been
through a lot recently.
However, it will it will create an answer to a question that's been asked for several thousand years. What happens when the gods and the rest of the multiverse can no longer influence us mortals?
Oh. Well then.
Although I do believe it'll take... Time is kind of interesting. It depends on where you are, but if I were to say that we were a top Temenoid Tempe in the city of Mythandril, in the Commonwealth, then you'd have about 50 years before the full effects would be seen, but there'll be some gradual disjunctions occurring, and then we
well, in that case, we have a reason to urgently depart.
So what you're saying is, in time, your actions that work the fucking.
I wish I heard what you said.
Jesus. I said, so basically, there's going to be consequences for your actions that we're going to have to.
If I'm getting this correct, you're saying that it was my actions that created the situation you were just a part of?
No, I think she's implying that there's going to be trouble moving forward because of what you've done here today.
That's exactly what I'm.
There's
There's going to be trouble for
The
everything that we've done in
situation-
the past couple months.
There's always trouble.
The situation we were just in is another one of versus fucking tests. That's all it does for. It's like, what can we test them with today?
Oh,
Well,
well, I
I
wouldn't-
suggest then,
go right ahead.
if I suggest we vacate the Feywild as quickly as possible, because there's no telling how much time is passing on the Prime.
I think we're okay for now, but
Well, if you listen to what was said, how they said breakfast, and then they showed up. Doesn't sound like much passed there while we were here for what, days?
It's possible.
Or is
but
my math off?
No, I feel like you're accurate, but all the same, time is...
well, we're lucky where we are here, says Yurdan. Being in this
Yeah, well.
temple tower citadel complex thing, it is the closest point, or one of the closest points, to our own realm. And so the Fey realm and the regular world do almost touch. Well, they actually do touch. He points in a direction over there, outside of that doorway. And so the dilations on time are much more congruent with that of our regular world. Now, if you continued on out further into the Fey, realm of the Fey, then I'm sure that time will dilate much differently, and you may end up being gone for years or centuries, or maybe you'll just return immediately. It's an interesting plane. It works that way. But no, where you are right here, you have no problem. Time travels in generally the same straight arrow as it does in the realms.
Well, that's fortunate.
Isn't it? He says. Well, I may have taken 500 years to write this script, but at least I got one plot point done correctly. Who knows what else will happen with the rest of the sentences I've put into the book. Although one thing is for certain, as he picks up the former cudgel, it is the end of days for this branch of the Tree of Life.
Ominous.
Ominous and foreboding, but
So-
also exciting at the same time. As I was saying, though, Alan, as your new capital was used by my simulacrum, and his knowledge has been passed along to me, there are 2 wards and 14 sigils protecting the palace that you are soon to take over. I'm sure you will have no problems with the sigils after I give you the memories of the ward commands. Are you prepared to receive them?
Sure.
With that, and without a second in delay, he places his palm upon Alan's forehead. And with his resistances down, transfers select memories directly into his mind. You feel something odd. Do you allow it to happen, or do you resist?
What the fuck? I go with it.
Fuck around and find out.
During the transition of memories, you see through the eyes of Venon. You feel something beneath the connected visions trying to escape beyond those of the security measures and magic needed to access all the protected areas in the palace you are soon to take possession of. Soon these strands of memories begin to touch you on an emotional level. As Yurdan releases his palm from your forehead, the twisted and tyrannical feelings unite within your mind, but then, as quickly as they came upon you, they are gone. He then turns to the assembled knights and says, "All right, mount up. Everyone going to Andril, form up on me over there." He points to the large antechamber. "It's time to go home."
That really sucked.
You do have access to all the glyphs and wards and the arcana commands required to make sure that were put up at the palace, and there are quite a few of them. So as the Platinum Dragon Knights start to assemble, and Stalomorn and Yurdan are having a heated discussion with each other, and Unther comes over to calm the brothers. Raven, your man
Yes.
approaches. He's scratching the back of his head. He's got a wine skin, or water skin actually in this case, a water skin that he takes a good gulp out of as he approaches, and he looks at you, says nothing, but approaches.
Okay.
Your Majesty. He's simply standing next to you.
I think I know. I think I know what my first decree is going to be.
Don't call me your majesty.
Oh, that obvious, huh?
What shall I do for you, my lady?
Oh, Jesus. Why do you have to do anything for me?
I am yours to command.
You're
I am
not my
a simple serf, your majesty. Give me a perception check.
Great, I gotta... Give me a second.
You can tell he's trying to...
A measly 12.
He's trying to egg you on. You can definitely tell. He's not trying to hide it. He's trying to be playful. Well, of course, your majesty, I would do anything you ask. I am but a simple servant. Your majesty.
Get a room already, fuck.
Well, do you want me to be honest? Fine, I'll be honest. I think it's too much of a coincidence that we met before You were needed for a ritual to bring a god back? So, unfortunately, it's just the fucking universe pulling and playing strings, which I'm kind of sick of. I know you can hate me for it. I don't have anything against you. Please understand this. I will help you get back to any home you had, or friends, or family, or whatsoever. But I think it's just too coincidental. I don't understand how anybody else here doesn't see that. That right before we go fight a fucking god that was resurrected through things that were supposed to be attached close to us happens. I'm sorry, it's just bullshit, is what it is. And
he grabs you. He grabs you by the shoulders, and then kisses you.
Push him off.
Oh.
I said, listen, I don't know what to think right now. Okay?
And don't think, he says.
I'm going through a lot.
I'll be here for you.
But that's not what I want. I don't want someone who's going to pine over me.
I'm not here to pine over you.
You don't
I'm
understand.
here to help you. You've been on edge so long. You deserve a break. Before you have a mental break.
Listen. I had a break. Okay? I was truly in love before. But the universe said, that's not the path I want you on. So it threw me on another one. Now the universe is like, oh, here you go. Maybe this is a little doggy treat reward for you since you did so well. But I can't not think that this is another fucking test for the universe to hurt me. I don't trust it. I don't believe it. I don't care what you think. So you're welcome to be around. But until I figure out things on my own, you can be around. Thank you.
No, Your Majesty.
I'm done right now. I have a kingdom to try and rule, and I'm just trying to wrap my head around that.
As do I. And you are being a spoiled little bitch. I cannot believe how much you are self-absorbed, thinking that the universe owes you something. When two of us come together, I lost my kingdom as well. When the two of us came together, it was like shooting stars in the night that would never occur again. Yet you have the audacity, the arrogance, to believe that it isn't the right time for you. Who are you to decide such things? What makes you the arbiter of all things that should occur? And who isn't to say that the universe doesn't owe both you and me a little bit of pleasure? Now, I'm sorry, Queen, but if you wish to be alone for the rest of your life, then that's your decision, and I will leave. No means no.
Listen. Understand.
Listen, I've been listening to your whining for the last...
I'm trying to...
And if it's not me, it should be somebody else. And if you can't be happy, well then, there's nothing I or anybody else can do about it. So perhaps you should go to your queendom. I'll return to my kingdom, and the stars evidently have not aligned. I bid you good day. And he turns to walk away.
Let him go.
Is this what good old courtship looks like?
The last one I'm gonna hand out, Keolok gets a chain.
It's from me.
That was the most Keolok answer ever. So.
It's kind of true, too. That's what he was going for, anyway.
It's kind of perfect, because Keolok is currently being suspended 4 inches above the ground while that just happened.
Yeah, she still has not put you down. She's got stamina in the arms you cannot believe.
Well, why do you think I took her as a wife?
Okay, top 10 priorities for why you become a wife of Keolok. 1, she can bench press him. 2, oh, sorry. So yeah, the rest of there's a commotion going on as everyone prepares to leave. Is anybody leaving with him, or are you staying with the half-elf bard who is standing away in a corner near a very large door?
Well, at this point, I give her a tap on the arm to sort of signal to put me down.
She does. She's like, I'm not done with you. We will finish this later.
Later.
Keolok gives a smile and a nod.
She then
shall we be off?
looks at the rest of the crew as Keolok says, "Shall we be off?" Don't keep him too long. I need him tonight. He's proven himself well.
No, because Keelok's only upset and wanted down because he was really hoping there was like some portion of the Tiamat skull from one of the heads left over. That's the only reason he wants down.
No, the whole skeleton got up and walked away.
I know, but he was like, fuck, I wanted one of those.
Well...
Keolok's got enough skulls as is.
I imagine...
Why would I want a shitty fucking normal-ass Tiamat skull?
You wouldn't want one of the skulls of Tiamat to adorn your...
No, because I got a magical fucking knoll skull that can fucking shrink and grow at will. I think that's a little bit cooler than a fucking dragon skull.
Hey, don't make fun of dragon skulls, and Minerva reaches up and knocks on her great helm. Which, by the way, in case you weren't
Again,
aware,
that is not a normal dragon skull!
Yes, it is.
Wait, she's just walking around with a normal fucking dragon skull?
Yeah, the skull of an adult red dragon that she had crafted into a great helm.
Okay, that's not a skull. That is a helmet that you fashioned out of a skull.
But a skull
Yes and no.
nonetheless.
It's not just a skull. It has, like, straps and shit and metal pieces to hold it all together.
Well, it's not holding the skull together, it's holding the skull to the helmet.
I guess you just shrink the skull on your head so it doesn't fall off, right?
Gotta keep the...
But then it doesn't like being dirty, so would it actually do that?
Probably,
that
until he
is
kills somebody.
unclean.
Probably.
Keolok walks around with a bar of soap. He bathes when he can.
I'm not saying you're filthy, but you said it doesn't like dirt in general. So even if you've been like...
As soon as you kill something, it flies off your head because you've got blood everywhere.
Exactly, that's what I'm talking about.
Anyways.
Wait, oh my god, I just realized something. I can fly with this helmet. I just put a strap on it to hold it into the thing, right? Onto my head. And then I hold some dirt in my hand and try and mush it onto the muzzle of the skull.
Probably a good way to break your neck.
I see like Keelog's experiment is like, I can fly, as the skull drags him across the ground. Because it can fly.
I can fly! Watch! Does it? Stop it!
But, really, Alyn, do you have a method of getting us home, or are we gonna go take a jaunt through that door? Actually, I look to... The first person Minerva would ask would be your husband, sorry.
From what I was told, this should, and I can only say should, bring us back to... Oh wow, something loud outside. This should bring us to the large gates in the northern part of Kairon's kingdom. From there, of course, I can teleport us anywhere, but I would need to have a few hours to prepare the requisite components in order to get us from here to there by my own power.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Alan, I cut you off. What were you saying?
I have no high level power left. It's gonna have to.
Door it is. The wizards are tapped. Door it is.
The wizards are tapped.
We turned them 90 degrees. They're now useless.
Okay, so yeah, the pillars that you're at, you go to the very back of them. Jay, did you ever do a mock-up of any of your cities or anything?
Did I ever do a mock-up of any of my
A
cities?
mock-up or send me any images that you wanted to use?
No, I don't think so. Not for Kairon, anyways. Maybe once upon a time for Minerva, but definitely not for Kairon.
Okay.
Oh, I imagine that you had whatever for the capital city, anyways. I thought that was the thing because it was a well-established city already. Yeah.
All right, and so yes, the back of the central tower looks the tower looks pretty much like the front of it. And as you open the large doors, you find that there is a extra dimensional space beyond the doors that you've opened. Seems to open up into nothing but a swirling portal.
Well, I feel like we're familiar with swirling portals at this point. So what's the worst that could happen?
Liari says, "Those are usually great last words in a story. Or great first words."
I know. What's the worst that could happen?
Hee hee! And he jumps in.
Glad I didn't have to go first. All right. Well, let's.
And it's a portal to the Blender dimension.
and then after we've all walked into the portal, the camera pans out, and it's just the grinning Tomb of Apocalypse demon face. And we've all walked into a sphere of annihilation.
We survived worse.
Then a sphere of annihilation? I don't think so.
We were literally just almost vaporized into nothing. And came back from that.
That's okay, we had plot armor.
We
don't
were
think
at
we
a
have-
Noble's party. We survived worse.
Now, here, I'll give you the link. I don't know if you guys have to log in or anything with the way this thing works anymore.
No, we shouldn't. No, we shouldn't.
This isn't the nice map, but it's like the older version of the map, so it still has like Yerdan and Rygolia and those sorts of things.
Yeah.
But yeah, you'll end up arriving at the sword wall.
Oh.
Notice how there's 3 large places: Alnatak, Alnilam, and Mintaka. You would have exited on the spire at Mintaka.
Oh, okay.
Because it was the
Is there anybody around?
The farthest one on... Oh, no, not the one on Mintaka, the one on Alnilam. Because Mintaka is across the river. It's the one that doesn't have one. Alnilam
Is there anybody around?
Alnilam is the one that's rumored to be one of those places where you could easily step into the realm of the Fae. And Alnatak is one of those places that when it is the darkness of night, people have seen chateaus emerge from nowhere. Was everyone able to bring that map up, or?
I was. I'm just trying to figure out what you're talking about. There's a lot of names and words on here.
Okay, so when you
go ahead.
When you open it up, if you zoom out all the way,
Yep.
see where the bay. Follow the coast up to the top left, where the big dot where Aethon is.
Yep.
See that red line that's not dotted?
Yes.
That's where. The center square in that red line.
Correct.
Is there anybody just there?
Oh, hells yeah.
Nobody like... Okay, I was
I-
gonna say, because I feel like if there's a giant portal, there's probably people there.
I was going to get into that, but I wanted to make sure everyone kind of got the lay of the land of where they were, since you're now back in the realms after a quick dimensional hop.
All right, I found it.
Perfect.
It's pretty red.
It's pretty red.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and if you zoom in, you could for sure see it.
you should be able to.
Yeah.
So, yes, of course, the naming of the three towers are in order for the sword wall, and they are actually connected by a very large wall of 40 feet in height that goes from one tower to the other, and there is a chain length barricade on the river that boats are allowed to pass at once, or not once, but throughout the day it does get let down to allow passage to go farther to the north and everything else. Of course, it is a toll bridge in essence, and so in order to use the service, you have to pay for it. So to get further into the interior, it's a pretty good money-making scheme that that the capital of Aethon tends to draw a lot of money from.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, there's all the towns that are in the Valley Basin, which is, you know, it's a rich, verdant agricultural area. It's pretty much where the majority of the food come from, is in those areas. Spots of forests here and there, but it's only light growth, and it is kind of surrounded. It's in this like valley area between the Frontier Mountains and the Dawn Mountains. And beyond the Frontier Mountains is Keolok's new realm. The Frontier Mountains are pretty much its border. And north of the Sword Wall is pretty much Raven's Lands. And then if you go to Mintaka across the river and then take that other side of the river, because the river pretty much splits Raven's Lands and the realm of Yurdan, which is now Alyn's Lands. You guys are going to have to come up with nation names. That's where his are. And then, of course, if you continue just going west and south, you've got... it does Rubrum Petra and Minerva's lands. And then south of that is Andril. And east of that is the Elvish lands of Aeldon. So, now that you know where you are, the lands of the original kingdom of Kian, called Rygol, was formed at the head of the ancient southwestern lands near Temenoi Tempe. Rygol would eventually be ruled after the Wars of Succession and the Danor Agreement as little more than a puppet government and a de facto colony of Nidice from Aethon, until Andril reappeared in 436 current era, atop Temenoi Tempe. After several large engagements lasting less than a year, called the Crown Wars, was won by the forces of Andril. When peace was signed, it was agreed that Rygol would be temporarily split, marking the territory between the newly formed Commonwealth of Andril in the south and east of the Kingdom of Kin, also referred to as the Borderlands. This new Rygolia would stretch from the Fortress of the Line north of the West Hedge to the borders of the Aeladon to the east, and Yurdan and Ethigoviel in the north. The seat of power for the new nation would reside in the city of Aethon until both would be joined together again upon the death of either Coronol Unther Drokoth of Andril or King Aemon Kalakoth of Rygolia, when the crown of both kingdoms would transfer to the next in line of the surviving monarch. To seal the agreement, Unther's eldest daughter and Aemon's eldest son would rejoin their fractured bloodline and unite the kingdoms in marriage. Their younger siblings were also forbidden to wed until such time as control of the two nations fell to the eldest couple, thus being one of the reasons Unther is just trying to get his kids married. In the event the joining would not be fruitful, or some mishap would befall the young prince and princess, the younger siblings would be wed to carry on the joining of the bloodlines. Once the pairing of the elder children proved fruitful, however, the younger couple would be free to marry whoever they wished, but not before. The temperate lands of Rygolia are as varied as its people, with old sylvan forests, mountains rising out of the seas on its western shores, plains of grassland to the north, and the wilder lands of Castellan Keep and the lake towns give rise to the land's reputation as the borderlands. And I do have a picture.
Figured you might.
That's a low-res one, though.
Let's see.
So there be Aethon. Alright, so as the everybody okay where we are right now? You kind of have a position, kind of are situated in space where you are?
For the most part.
Okay. So after exiting the portal, along with all of your accompanying loved ones, including Raven.
I don't know if she's a loved one, though.
Well, no, but including Raven's loved one, who she is currently rejecting. He does join everybody in the jump, rather than disappear off with the Drokoth boys back to Andril. And you notice that they were prepared. There is a large number of mounted infantry, several foot soldiers as well, numbering in quick calculation well into the hundreds. And making a pathway through them is a group of 3 horsemen, one with banners, all with colors, who are quickly riding towards the new arrivals, meaning your group.
Great.
The guy in the lead definitely seems to be the one in charge.
Well, that's weird, because I'm pretty sure I'm the one who's in charge.
And he comes up he comes up to the group on his horse with lance out and says, "Hold! What devilish realm do you come from?"
From the Feywild.
Unther's daughter kind of giggles with that. Anyway,
well, I guess Kairon would bring Midnight Stardust with him, because, you know, I feel like Midnight Stardust might be interested in what's about to go down just by sake of curiosity. Midnight Stardust might be intrigued about what's about to happen, especially if he is to be, is it she? He? She?
it.
Well, I mean, it is a celestial,
Exactly.
so technically.
What is it?
So I figured that they would be interested in knowing most of this stuff because
I do believe it was called a king, so
No.
it's been identified as male, but
male. Okay.
it is a fairy, so
Yeah.
well, it is from the fairy realm.
Listen, I feel like if he is going to be spending a lot of time here, that he may want to familiarize himself with the area.
Okay, then before the guy with the lance arrives, everyone is waiting on the arrival of your steed partner, who can instantaneously teleport by your side, so it's not that long of a wait. But then, when you do arrive, you notice that the Ari is sitting there tapping his foot with his arms crossed, going, "What took you so long?"
I was waiting for a friend.
Oh, I see. We have a problem, he says. And those three aren't rushing through the group. They've already arrived. And
I don't think it's really a problem.
the main guy says, "Halt and identify who you are. Your
I
elvish
am.
friend says that you are our new king, or one of you are. Identify yourselves."
Well, that would be. I am King Kairon Ebonhearth of Rygolia, and these are my companions.
You are Kairon, the new king, he says. And you can evidently tell by his tone that he's not liking the situation.
Did nobody inform you that of my, and Chiron reaches up and flicks one, like he taps his armored, his armored fist against one of his horns. My bloodline.
You can hear him mutter under his breath, "I'd rather die than serve a devil." Your Princess Jasmine looks the situation over, looks at you and says, "Don't worry. Consider this part of my
I'm not worried.
dowry." And she does a little bit of a flick with her hands, and she turns into Princess Jasmine. And you turn into Mr. Prince Charming.
That's no fun.
Keolok stays the same. Keolok's girl stays the same. But just to add insult to injury, Raven, you don't know this because you're not really looking at yourself, but you now look like a high elf.
What kind of demon magic is this?
She's all, "Shh, it's fairy magic."
Realistically, they're going to have to learn to accept it sooner or later.
Your magnificent warhorse with no wings says to you, "They're simple fools. It'll take time.
Oh, well.
But perhaps we can build that bridge of understanding, and not at the edge of a lance."
Fortunately for us, we have time. We've got nothing but time.
You're telling me that over the course of his trials, Kairon has not proven himself to be an adequate leader?
It isn't about whether or not I'm a leader.
He's all... The guy that's there says, I apologize. Your Majesty, I did not realize that being in the realm of the Fae you had come under such problems. By all means, yes, we are at your service, and the guard and the army is ready to do battle as we were told may come to pass.
The battle is already over and won.
Did you hear that, boys? Our king is already victorious, and he has just taken command over a week ago, or a 10-day ago.
I look over at Alicia.
Oh, Alicia's not here.
Princess Jasmine.
No, Princess Jasmine. I don't suppose this was also your doing? Or the machinations of your father?
If memory serves, this is pretty much playing out the same way it did the first time round.
Well, even though I still feel as though forcing them to come to terms with who I am would be better sooner than later.
Do we see everyone else as different, or do we see everyone as we normally see them?
Well, considering I think she casts Seeming, I think we see each other as whatever the illusion is. I'm pretty sure she casts Seeming.
Actually, I took your not a no as the ability to as an acceptance of her casting the spell.
Yeah.
That you weren't trying to resist it. No, she just polymorphed the three of you.
Polymorph is a concentration spell.
Yes.
And it only lasts an hour.
Well, whatever. It's fine. The time is less of a problem. But anyway. Anyway, moving on. I suppose
Oh, technically she polymorphed the four of you. I apologize.
Oh, that's right. You can do different multiple targets. And you are?
I am General Zod.
Neo before Zod.
General Dawes. His name is General Dawes. No, what would you like your general's name to be? This is your kingdom.
That is
me
if
just
you had
asking
a-
Jay rather than
If you had a name for him already, that's fine.
I do, but it's in one of the stories that Anther had, and I'd have to go search. So we can just say that he has replaced that general, and
Oh, I don't have a name.
if you want me to name him,
No, Dawes is fine.
because there is a very strong Nidacian heritage there, so the names generally tend to be either Latin or Greek. Like in nomenclature kind of deal.
Yeah, no, I got you. It's fine. No, Dawes is fine. I'm fine with Dawes. It's an alright name.
General Dawes at your service, my liege.
Well,
Well, yes, I know, not liege yet. We still have to do all the formalities, but...
it's unfortunate that you've been mustered here for however long you've been mustered here for, only to now have to march back home, but...
Oh, but we will definitely be your entourage and celebrate your coming in to the capital city. We'll make sure that every serf and commoner for miles around is brought to bring you the adoration you deserve.
feel as though that won't be necessary.
As you wish, my king.
Seems that you don't look like yourself.
I feel as though
they're kissing illusionary ass.
it's fine, but I feel as though before any of that can be expected of me, that I need to earn the trust of my people, as it were.
Will all of your companions, including your cleric that healed you, be joining you at the capital, my king?
I believe so, unless any of you have any objections.
You hear under her breath, Princess Jasmine says, "Cleric?"
Again, I'm certain that this is going to make it more difficult for us rather than easy. but I'll play along with your desires for now.
Ah, very well. Bring forth a method of locomotion for the crew and honored guests of our king. We will begin our trek at your convenience. We are at your service. Come, I will have you. He points to one of his soldiers. Escort the king to the main mustering area and to the main tents. He will no doubt be in need of some food and time to freshen up before we depart on our long journey. And one of the soldiers comes up and says, "Yes, General. Your Majesty, my king, if you would follow me, I will bring you and your companions to the main mustering area and the tent of the general."
Of course.
He starts to lead you. You notice that his entire squad joins him.
Yeah, that's fine.
And you're all brought to some large tents. They're spread out in a field outside of the little hamlet area that is already risen up. That has risen up around the tower itself. And of course, the largest tent is the general's tent, and you're brought in there. And there's, it's fairly well set up.
As one would be expected.
So as you guys start settling in and you're fawned over, so if you got, you're pretty much asked, is there anything that you want that we can provide for you? About to ask.
Bath and food.
Yeah,
And a room.
that sounds good.
And about a year's worth of sleep. And food.
You see him start discussing things with some of his soldiers, and they start nodding. Or he starts nodding, and then he goes, "Well, then perhaps we should head to the temple. The temple has baths, and would be a secure location. Stay here for momentarily, your Majesty, and I will make sure that it gets ready, and you can be transferred there forthwith."
As you will.
Okay, so it takes about 45 minutes for them to get everything together. You are not approached by anybody. The streets are cleared for your arrival, so when you get to the temple's been cleared. All the clergy are outside, and you're given full reign of the temple itself.
Who is it a temple to?
This is your land. What temple would you like to have outside of the tower that in the small hamlet? Remember, it's a small hamlet outside of the tower.
Well, I know
to
this.
the
Hey,
realm
you keep
of the
saying
king.
it's my land, but if these things existed prior to me being king, I would have no real input on what they were originally.
Well, they do exist, but they're not specific, so they're still floating. They haven't been made official yet, so I'm allowing you to make official stuff.
Well, was there a leading religion in Athon prior to
because it's Nidacian, the
Probably not.
majority would be the majority would be magic related.
Okay, well then it's probably
So Maruk is pretty much one of
Probably.
the big ones, and
okay. Well, that's
any of the
probably
other ones
Maruk
over
then.
there.
It's probably Maruk then.
Okay, that makes sense.
I will stop on the threshold and pay my respects to Maruk before entering the temple. I am a man of the cloth, after all.
It is the Obelisk of Maruk, is what the official temple name is.
Okay.
You enter the obelisk of Maruk, and
I would also.
there are. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say I'd also like to have gather the clerics back in, because this is their spaces, even though we're using it. I have no reason to forbid the clerics from their temple. Doesn't make any sense.
Okay, the lieutenant who has come to you a few times gets some of his corporals to go and bring them back, but he does keep your immediate area clear of any clergy members.
Be right back.
Okay, actually, since you're heading out now, and we're halfway through, we'll take a quick 15-minute breather at this point, and I'll go have a smoke and bio break as well.
Okay.
All right, I'll be back.
Alrighty.
I'll give you some Muzak. Feel free to discuss amongst yourselves. My headset's still going to be on, but I'm going to be out of mic shot.
This could be more of a pain in the ass because of what she did than anything else.
So how are you going to keep up this illusion, and for how long?
My intention is to not